purpose. No one can create your purpose for you. No one can tell you who to be. So in purpose, you have to create your own purpose. And in evolution, you have to evolve towards that purpose. It's easier to live when you have goals to meet. You understand? If you have goals to meet, then you don't feel so voided, and you understand why every day you're looking at this person in the mirror, because that is the cool part about the game. You get to be anybody you want to be.
All right, welcome. You're tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership Podcast. We got another star-studded panel for you guys this week, and we're gonna let the guests introduce themselves first this week. Let's start off with Andrew. Just met Andrew today, so this is a good a special guest here. Andrew, won't you introduce yourself and give them a little background and tell them where to find you, so on and so forth.
Sure. Nice to meet everyone and happy to be here, you guys. Thank you for having me on. Andrew Becker out of Alexandria, Virginia. I started my real estate. I have a real estate background. I started my career about 13 years ago. I'll go real quick. I started a team in 2013. From what I learned of running and operating that team for more than a decade, I started 4 additional real estate related companies. The first being a SaaS software company. It's a team operating platform built on top of Salesforce called Billions. I also started a marketing agency, specifically doing Google pay-per-click ads for motivated seller leads called Brighter PPC. I have my own podcast called the Team Lead Talks podcast as well, where I interview people in the real estate industry. And then I have a coaching program called the Probate Engineers, where I teach real estate professionals how to install a 7-figure probate department inside their operation in 4 weeks. So all real estate related background stuff over my career, 13 plus years in the industry.
Gotcha. Awesome. So tell them where to find you and everything like that. What are you doing right now? So on and so forth.
Yeah. So I'm completely leveraged out of sales, but the other companies I'm running actively today, the easiest way to find me, just so I don't have to list a bunch of different websites, is I have the same handle on social media. I am Andrew Becker. So find me on all the platforms that I'm sure everyone is on already.
Right. LinkedIn and the Facebook as well, right?
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, it's all the same. I am Andrew Becker.
Gotcha. Awesome. And next, my guy, John Flowers, man. I'm still... What year was it? I can't remember. Was it 2020, 21? I've been knowing this guy for a while.
I think it was 2021 or 22. I was thinking about it. 21 or 22.
Gotcha. So, John, tell them what you do, introduce yourself, so on and so forth.
All right. Well, thank you, B and David, for having me tonight. I am Andrew Becker. Nice to meet you.
You too.
My name is John Flowers. I'm with Goosehead Insurance. You can find me locally in Houston, Texas. I write insurance policies, all personal lines, home, auto, umbrella, flood, anything else personal lines you can think of. I can write it all over the state. And you can find me at goosehead.com /John-Flowers. And that is a link to my direct digital agent. So if you're interested in hearing or getting quotes, whether home, auto, any other type of one of our products, type in that link and start putting in some information on what you're looking for, and then I'll give you a shout. I've been doing personalized insurance for 8 years, roughly. For that, I did health insurance consulting for 6 years. Somehow I kept floating back to the insurance industry, and here we are.
Gotcha. So yeah, he's actually my guy that I usually give most of my business to. So
yeah. Brandon and I have been working together for 4 or 5 years now.
Right. So if you need an insurance agent that's going to give you you need to make the DTI, he's going to get you where you need to go. So
if you want no BS insurance, give me a shout.
Right. So actually, let me go ahead and get to it. Then David, you can introduce yourself as well. This is my first time. Actually, I didn't introduce myself first. One of the first shows in 9 years. I usually introduce myself first. All right, so y'all know me. Y'all should know me. If y'all don't, y'all need to get to know me. It's Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. It's at Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media, including YouTube. So please like, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Also comment. We will read the comments live on air, and we will answer any questions live here on air as well. If you're looking for a mortgage or want to book me for a consultation, go to our website, www.applywithb.com. Also, you can call me 24/7, 822-775-8357. Yes, I will answer the phone and be ready to talk. So I've answered calls at 2 a.m. in the morning. So be on the lookout for that. Last but
I
not
can
least, go to my
vouch for
website.
that. You've texted me at all hours of the night before.
Right. I'm a workaholic. So David and I have had 1 a.m. conversations. So yeah, I mean, we get to it. www.brandonbdixon.com. That is my website. Don't forget, I'm a realtor as well. So if you want to lease, list, so on and so forth, I can help you with that as well. David, I got you queued up and ready to go.
You know what I was most impressed with in one of our last conversations is it was like 2 a.m. and you're like, I got to get off the call. I got to get to the gym.
Right.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, dude, do you sleep?
Right. Very seldom.
He doesn't sleep. He recharges.
I guess.
He plug him back in for a little bit, and he's good to go.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Throw it back up for me, Brandon. Yeah. So my NMLS number, mortgage. I am a branch manager, mortgage advisor in the state of Minnesota. Multiple state licenses, though. 328-679, one of the first licenses that existed. Keep going a little bit further. That is my YouTube channel handle. Probably where you're watching this, if you are watching this at all, is this one right here. Most of my tags are going to be Infinite Home Team, including my website, infinitehometeam.com. If you go there, there's a lot of fun, helpful resources, calculators, links to everything else. Everything you need is pretty much right there on that site. But go to the next one there. This is the most important one. If you click this link, you can actually download this into your phone, and it'll have everything you need in one shot in your phone now for everything you need for me in one place. .cards/David Youngs.
Gotcha. So before we get to the first clip, I want to kind of open up a general question, since we're all businessmen and we all have business. Have you noticed a change in the last couple of weeks? And again, we're not a political show. We're not a religious show. We're not a political show. However, since everybody's affected by the conflict some kind of way. So have you noticed a change or any type of variance in your business in the last couple of weeks since the conflict in the Middle East? Any changes or anything have you guys seen? Y'all can just hop in, no particular order. So not honestly, all at the same time.
I don't think I've noticed a noticeable change just yet. It's kind of business as usual. I'm not in real estate sales anymore, like I mentioned before. So maybe if I was still doing that, I would see stuff happening, but not for me. I don't really have much to add on that one, man.
Gotcha.
I feel like we don't have a big enough sample size to truly see the impact of it because it's so fresh. Like it's still happening right now. So the end results probably have yet to be determined. Now, I have noticed people are, and this has been a trend going for a while, just maybe exacerbated by the past few weeks, buying it. The price of things is more emotional and not necessarily including all the logic. Like in my case, if I'm trying to tell someone the difference between a 2% deductible versus a 5% deductible, all they see is the bottom line, and they're not really considering the implications if something were to happen. And even if I explain that, they're still like, okay, doesn't, just do it. So people are super sensitive to price. And I think that'll keep going. I don't see any end to that.
Right. I mean, I'll jump in there real quick. I've noticed that a couple of people are trying to hold out until the new Fed chairman gets in. I don't know if you noticed the same thing, David. Like a couple of people, I'm gonna wait till May, they were kind of kicking tires, like, all right, I'm gonna hold up. Well, let's see if the race drop, because I have noticed I should have locked one the other day that it was I had one at par. It was a great rate. Then all of a sudden it's ticked up over half a point in the last couple of days. I'm like, damn it, I should have locked it, when I had it. So that's one of the things as well. Dunbar, hey, they say better late than never, right?
They said better late than never. Yeah, hear me?
Yeah, I get you.
All right, man.
It's cool that
Nice.
you and John are at the same house. That's awesome.
It just
Right.
swapped angle, just different
Right,
like views.
right.
Right.
Y'all sitting next to each other.
We are.
We were Dunbar. We were just talking about how the conflict here in the Middle East is affecting our businesses, and we were all commenting on it. One thing I'll comment as well on is when it comes to the mortgage industry, which is where I'm based in. I haven't had too many savvy people like reach out saying like, I've been watching this trends and these articles and these stats and blah blah blah. Like, and the Fed chair might get replaced. Like, I haven't seen that, but what I have seen is what we were expecting is no longer what we are now expecting. We were expecting rates to keep coming down and down and down. That was the forecast. All the economists were in agreement. Like, all the data supported that rates would come down. They didn't. They went down, and then they immediately jumped back up very quickly. You just commented on that, Brandon, how you missed a lock maybe on one of the clients. Like, it happened overnight practically, and it just kept going. And the forecasts now are that it's still kind of uncertain. It might even keep going up a little further, which unfortunately in the beginning of the spring market here is slowing down traffic. I'm not seeing as many people reaching out as I normally do. I'm still, now granted, I've been doing this for 21 years. I'm still getting people reaching out, but not as many that I would expect. So I'm seeing just in general, as was commented on already, the emotions behind it. There's a little bit of an emotional feeling of, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just maybe ride this out a little longer. And we might see the spring market, I think, get delayed or pushed back just a little bit is kind of my anticipation here.
That's kind of what I'm getting as well, because I have people that's pretty qual that kind of want to kind of kick it down a little bit further. Like, hey, let's wait until May and see what happens and stuff like that. So a lot of people are pinching the wallet a little bit tougher. Dunbar, are you seeing real quickly before we go to the first clip? Are you seeing anything change in the last couple of weeks?
In the last couple of weeks, I can't say that I have. I was looking forward to the real estate, the mortgage rates rather, going down a little bit more expeditiously, but that's not happening. But that's still not. I haven't seen any downtick, but I do work with I work with renters, buyers, sellers. So I work with I don't work with just one particular consumer in this case. So it hasn't been a bunch of downtick for me now.
Gotcha. Well,
real quick too for Dunbar, for anybody that doesn't know, because we didn't get to do his intro. He
right.
is
We kind of skipped.
Perfect. Go ahead. Brandon,
Hey, you want to do a quick 15-second intro real quick so where they can find you? I see you got your phone number on your nameplate now. Yeah,
totally. Oh, I'm Brandon Dunbar, a Houston guy. I'm a Texas realtor. If you need to reach out to me, you can Google me, Brandon Dunbar Realtor. You can also set up a consultation with me via my website, which is Dunbar Did It. And I have my cell phone number right there. You can call me anytime. This as long as it's dealing with real estate.
Gotcha. Now we're gonna go. This is a good segue to the first clip that we're about to review. So let's go ahead now. Watch the clip. And this is your first time watching us, our content. What we do is react to clips, and then we start the discussion from there. So we got about 4 or 5 clips that we're gonna go over this week, and let's start it off with here. Let me know if you guys can see the screen.
No, I do. I do have it's some. I think it's some moisture in my my screen. It is like flickering here right now. Just kind of bear with me on this.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, and by the way, we can see and hear you just fine, Brandon. So you're good on our end. But let us know if we have to, if you got to jump for any reason. No worries.
Okay.
We know we're having some technical difficulties there.
Right.
Brandon, I'll give you a thumbs up as soon as you play.
Breaking news! You guys, this came out just now. Here's my thought. If you guys are waiting for the government to make housing more affordable, you might be waiting for a long time. But Trump just signed this executive order to make the house more affordable, to make it actually get rid of more regulation, to make it easier to basically for banks to give out loan, have more houses available, easier financing. You would think that was going to fix everything, right? Here's the thing, what you don't realize. The biggest problem in real estate isn't the federal policy, it's local. Look, zoning law, regulation, restriction. I mean, they make it so hard for people to build new construction. I know for sure in Seattle, and I hear that all across the United States. And they charge you to upgrade the street, the sidewalk, utility. I mean, stupid thing. Also in Seattle, there's they call it MHA, Mandatory Housing Affordability. They charge you like $25 per square foot. If you build a property that's 2,000 square feet, imagine multiply that, and you got multiple property, all right, going at one time. They use that money, they say, to actually build more affordable housing for nonprofits. That's what they say, okay? A lot of that stuff actually slow down the process, and they almost stop building. Not even want to build because it's hard to actually make it work. This is what's stopping the number of homes that go up for available a year, okay? Now, for the mortgage rate, it isn't controlled by the policy, it's controlled by the market. Oh, if you notice the same thing happening across the United States, right? Comment below. If you have any thoughts on this, comment below, okay? Peace. Break it.
All right, so who wants to go first? Who wants to go first on this? All right,
I'll try, man. I
right.
can go first.
All right, cool.
I do think what he said at the beginning of that clip, where if you're waiting on the government to help you, I'm a firm believer of you kind of take control of your own destiny. No one is coming to save you.
Right.
So if you can buy when you can, kind of approach here. And I'm not really a new construction builder, so I'm not familiar with the kind of the middle part of that. But I can imagine that making homes more affordable and loans easier to get is kind of reminiscent of going back to like 2006, 7, 8, when we had that crisis on our hands. So I don't know if that's the best thing in the world, but I also don't have a crystal ball, you guys. So who knows? But that's my take on that short clip.
Gotcha. John, you want to chime in on? Let's just go counterclockwise. Clockwise, round robin.
So when I saw that, I immediately thought of the Fannie Mae changes that were just announced earlier this week. And I'll, David and B, correct me if I'm wrong, and Dunbar, if you can hear me. But the change, so one of the big deals that I've been dealing with lenders that are closing loans through Fannie Mae is, for a long time, Fannie Mae was requiring the roof to, quote unquote, be covered at replacement cost value for the life of the loan.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but generally speaking, a loan's going to be a 15 or 30-year mortgage. And no insurance carrier under the sun is going to cover a roof, the same roof, at 100% replacement cost for the life of the loan. Like, say it's a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
There's no carrier that exists that will cover a roof at full-blown replacement cost for the life of the loan. So I couldn't tell you how many deals I've been having to work that I had to jump through hoops just to make sure that I was writing a policy with a carrier that would the language on the declarations page would satisfy the loan underwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was just lifted earlier. One of the many things, I believe, that was lifted earlier this week. And that's a big weight lifted off of my shoulders, because it helps me shop for my clients, knowing confidently, like, hey, this carrier is going to have the right language for you. Mm-hmm. It's not just about coverage anymore, but it's making sure, or at least up until this week, it was making sure you were finding a carrier that the language on the documents were making the government happy. So I feel like where I'm going with all that is it being opened up and allowing things a little bit more. So I feel, to piggyback on what Andrew said, if you can buy when you can. But this opens up several more avenues for me. So I'm for the changes.
Dunbar, I know you next, but I want to kind of answer because he asked myself and David a question. I have, and this is a good angle. I noticed since that opened up, now it opened up a lot of new carriers, and it opened up a lot of less expensive policies.
Mm-hmm. And
You know?
I think that was the point, because
Right.
it was making it so difficult. I mean, rates thankfully are lower than what they were, prompting people to refi. But then I was having to rewrite people with different carriers that I wrote last year because they were refinancing, and that carrier, the language didn't satisfy Fannie Mae.
Right. But what I've noticed is that's how we lost a couple. Actually, 3 of them this month. I had 3 closed, but back to back with builders. But the builders are so cheap now because they lifted the
I have noticed the builders
so
policies.
the builders are like ridiculously cheap now because they lifted those guidelines or bridged those guidelines. You know, so it's like you might lose some money. I'll lose some deals. How do you feel about that?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. So
it's a bummer.
Put that up.
It's a bummer, but
Right.
I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Right. So they got some ridiculously cheap coverage now, and that's what's going on because stuff's so outrageous. $5, man, $5 gas. Like I had to rub my eyes when I seen diesel was $4.99 a gallon yesterday. You know, so people are pinching these pennies, so they're not caring about. They're taking their chances, especially with a new house. They're taking their chances with the cheap coverage. You know, so yeah, some of this stuff. I think it's the calm before the storm. But Dunbar, I didn't want to encroach on it. I just want to answer him. So go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So what I'm hoping happens in the near future is the markdowns on new homes. I think that since they are able to kind of not necessarily cut some corners, but cut some corners, I think that there will be a lot more houses available, and a lot more houses that are available now slashed on prices. And I'm speaking from a realtor standpoint here, because if they are offering the same warranties, then I mean those warranties that they offer are pretty lengthy and pretty comprehensive. The warranty standpoint. Not that I know y'all talking about insurance, but if we can keep the same warranties, and the house that was $275,000 is now $245,000. I mean, it's gonna help me out in the future. But who knows how it's gonna all unfold? But that's what I'm hoping happens with this executive order.
Gotcha. What I took from the video is this: the biggest thing he said is like, and I want to allude what Andrew, I want to reiterate what Andrew alluded to, is that nobody's coming to save you. This one executive order is not going to make houses the price go in half. You know, it might alleviate some pain points, but however, the biggest thing he said is on a local level. People always worry about every 4 years changing the presidency, but that has nothing to do with your particular county, you know, and the legislation in your particular county. We sleep on the midterms. That's one of the most important things is this year, the midterm elections. And that's going to be what affects your district, your zones, the laws as far as if you want to build a new house or if you get a new construction, that's going to affect your pocketbook more than every 4 years. So that's the biggest thing I took from is the localized thing, especially I get people that want me to mentor them all the time into real estate investing, but they're not involved at all in local politics. That it kind of go hand in hand, as far
you kind of
as
have to lobby for yourself to an extent when you're doing
right.
it at the local level.
Right. So you got to kind of be involved in locally, and because that affects your pocket. I give you an example, like everything before Trump got in there, everything, and again, it's not a political show, but it became the Wild Wild West all of a sudden, with contractors. Every contractors were starting jobs, stopping them. There's no legislation to penalize them. So I think that is one thing I am lobbying for and trying to get some of that stuff in Texas, because Texas two-step, and John knows what I'm talking about. Texas, you gotta actually, if a contractor runs off, I gotta actually sue him, and then I have to collect. So it's a twofold thing. So it's tough to get contractors to do things out here. I'm working on a project I've been working on for a year, and I still can't get it done. So that's what I need. Local ordinances and local laws to change. David, I yield the floor to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure, throwing it in the chat here, I'm pretty sure this announcement here is what you're referring to, of what was released here on March 18th. When you say earlier this week, technically today's earlier this week, so you mean last week?
I meant last week. Yeah, I meant last week.
This is the one.
Yes, that's it.
Perfect. Yeah, I just want to throw it in the chat for the audience here watching, so that way everyone has a reference point to what we're talking about. So part of the challenge that we've been seeing for a long, long time in the mortgage industry and real estate industry is you've got well-intentioned policies on the mortgage real estate side and well-intentioned policies on the insurance side, but they don't talk to each other.
There is zero interdepartmental communication.
Exactly. So what sounds great in theory on one side and sounds great in theory on the other side, great. Let's put it into play. Why not? Except if there's no communication, now the policy created just actually contradicted each other. And since they won't talk, we have an issue. Great example. We have the same thing that comes into play when it comes to self-employed income with CPAs. CPAs and accountants are not legally supposed to provide letters that say this business is totally operational and good to go for 2+ years and blah, 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 and stake their license behind this. But that's what Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA requires. That's the requirement on this side, is you have to have that to close a loan. So you're forcing a policy compromise here in situations like this. And it's sad that it's been this way. But I also think it's worth sharing. The whole point of insurance is not fun. It's not sexy. The idea here is if you need it, your family is covered and protected. Hopefully you never need it. But if you do, it's not a bad concept to say we want to make sure as a lender that the house and the family are properly cared for. That in theory, that sounds great. It's just because of the way the policies are written, sometimes you'll have a gap where maybe the house is worth $500,000, but the insurance policy says it's only worth $435,000. Well, that's not enough coverage per this side. It might be technically in the open market, but not according to this valuation over here. So you have this impasse. So I'm glad to see that we might have a little bit of alignment finally in our industries. I think this will speed things up and make it a little easier for families and us as professionals. But I think this is where the really good advisor comes in, of advise your clients well on, listen, you don't necessarily need to get more coverage, but you might want to ensure that you got that extra rider. You got that add-on piece, you got that umbrella policy, you've got these other things in check to help offset some of this, just in case, heaven forbid, your house burns down and you get a call like I did a few years back where it's like, hey, David, my house burned down and I didn't have insurance on it because we paid our loan off and I canceled my insurance. What do I do?
Right,
Nothing.
Right.
There's no
stick your hands up. There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. That's the whole point of insurance. You keep it. You don't want it, but you need it. So good advisors will be more necessary than ever, is the point I want to land on with this. They'll be more necessary than ever with this policy change to ensure that although we may have a lowering of standard here, the client family is not losing out in the grand scheme, the long run, for those that will run into this situation where they might need that insurance. So that's my only concern about it.
Gotcha. All right, so this is a good segue too for the next clip. Actually, I had this tailored. So since we're on the insurance, let's keep on the insurance theme here. For the next
So let me. My screen is bugging out. I'm about to hook up to my second screen, and then I'm gonna log back in with you fellas.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. No worries.
Everybody.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Yeah, we
Y'all
got
see
it.
it? All right.
We're good. Yeah.
All right. Let's run
Put
it.
any insurance on my properties. I have liability only. So if the house burns down or if that happened to me, I'm screwed. But every tenant, I mandate that they have renter's insurance. And if they don't pay it, I pay it. It's $8 a month. $8 a month for an insurance policy. The only thing it covers is floods and fires.
So I wouldn't have been covered.
You would have been covered.
Well, that's not a flood.
It is.
It's a broken pipe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the flood you're talking about.
No, that's the flood I'm talking about. Water damage
Yeah.
is covered.
Yeah.
Fires are covered. And tenant damage is covered.
Oh, gotcha.
Tenant vandalism, stuff like that. I don't put
Is this true? You know, is this stuff true?
I'm not a lawyer or an attorney, but I was wondering if there's any legalese behind that. Like maybe
like
some of the insurance providers on this can do it. I'm sure if that was a thing, though, wouldn't all landlords do that and save a fortune on insurance?
Yeah, that's why I put this on there. Can we just debunk this, or is there any legitimacy to that claim?
No.
All right, that sums it up. You know,
Watching that made me cringe and get goosebumps.
right. So educate the people.
Oh, there are so many different things. Like we could rewatch it and go line by line.
Wrong.
In the synopsis.
First of all, he talks about liability. Liability is to keep you from getting sued, not covering any of the property. That would be the reason. Having liability coverage would be the reason that you want your tenants to have that coverage, and of course, coverage for personal property. But this dude was talking about a broken pipe being covered while it's the same thing as flood. No, not remotely. And for example, when a client has me write a renter's policy, the first coverage that comes up is personal property. You talk to your client, get an idea as far as what coverage number they would like, ideally written at replacement cost for their personal property. And then the other coverages come subsequent to that, liability being one of them. But him mentioning water coverages, there's so many different types of quote unquote broken pipes. The first one that comes to mind is called sudden and accidental water damage. That would be, at least in Texas, because it's going to vary a little bit state by state. But sudden and accidental water damage in Texas is a rushing water. For anyone in Texas or frankly lower half of the United States, Winter Storm Uri, February 2021, it was snowpocalypse down here. A week of freezing weather.
That's where you
froze.
had like half an inch of snow or something, right?
Yeah. So people lost power for a week. It was hard freeze. So, people lost power, pipes froze, pipes exploded. That would be covered under sudden and accidental water damage for a renter up to the coverage limit for their personal property, not covering any of that owner's structural property. Additionally, there are other water coverages available for the renter, but it's meant to cover their personal property, not the homeowner or the apartment owner. So that guy has everything backwards. And when I mean everything, I'm saying everything. There wasn't anything I would have followed or taken with that one.
Right. And nice timing, because I wanted to hit it from this angle. Because I'm not an expert in insurance. That's why we got the expert on the panel. But a lot of people will take this and use this. They're scrolling through. Well, I heard that this guy, and they will run it with it. So this is the angle I wanted to hit. It's like a lot of this stuff that you hear online is not real. It's not even remotely rooted in reality.
Which brings me back to the point of what David had just finished saying it is important to take that advisory role.
Right.
And if you're talking to someone and they're spitting out stuff like that, you need to put the brakes on and get back to the fundamentals to making sure they actually understand the foundation of what they're trying to accomplish.
Right. You got to kind of examine it, but most people won't. This is kind of what I wanted to take this discussion. This is where I want to. Most people will not do any research. Most people will scroll and, hey, I heard, and do a hodgepodge of quote unquote knowledge. And this is, instead of seeking professional advice, mentorship, or paying for courses, stuff like that, this is where they get their information.
I would rather them get their info from Chat GPT than social media.
Yep.
Right. But let's be honest. This is what I wanted to open the discussion about. Yeah. A lot of this is garbage. Especially in our profession with real estate. Most of these real estate gurus, they have no idea what they're talking about. Most of these mortgage people have no idea, they have no clue what they're talking about. And the devil, like I think Ian said last week, the devil's in the details. When you start peeling the layers back, it's all BS. You know, so that's kind of where I wanted to point it. Like, I know I want to get John to debunk it, or and let's talk about that. Like, and this kind of is a good segue to the next clip. But David, I'll go ahead and yield it from there.
Yeah. So just you may not even know this, Brandon, but even though I'm not a PNC licensed agent, I did go through all of the pre-licensing education and I did sell it for many years. So I am very familiar with it. This is flat out false. 100%. John's right. Flat out false.
Just cringe.
Renter's insurance covers personal property and liability. It has nothing to do with the dwelling. The dwelling you live in is not covered by renter's insurance. So you have to have a separate policy covering the dwelling. If you are the landlord and if this guy truly is banking on, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Like your insurance is going to cover it. If this is a real video, then after this video, he's in for a rude awakening. He's not getting covered. He is not
for his own sake. I hope that never happens.
I do too. Yes.
We won't.
Yeah. It is not true. Flat out not true. And to your point, Brandon, don't believe everything you see on the internet, no matter how good they may look or how well they present it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Do some quick fact checking on that. Talk to a licensed professional, get that advice, and you'll be able to identify real quick, oh, no, that's not true. Got it. Just the same as we have the same things we debunk all the time in each of our respective spaces all of the time. It's common to see this on a regular basis. And the reality is, we've talked about this in previous shows, there's just simply a lack of financial education across the board for everybody. There is no schooling really for this. So how do you really know as a new person, 18-year-old kid, all right, I'm an adult, I'm out in the world now, got a job, you want to rent, you want to buy a house, eventually get married, all these things. You don't know, like, how does insurance work? How does investing work? How does retirement work? How do taxes work? How does real estate work? How does mortgage work? There's nothing to really know other than whatever your best friend's dad's uncle's brother told you, and whatever you see now, unfortunately, on social media, which may or not even be real, AI generated now at this point too, as well. So you don't even know what's happening, and you're guessing your way through life, hoping you make good financial decisions, which is part of why we do this podcast. So we can bring good professionals in to debunk this stuff. So if anybody watches, they can say, this is not right. This is incorrect. Don't do it. Be careful.
I did have one question for you two insurance guys on here. At the end, he mentions that he forces his tenants to get renter's insurance. Is that even a thing that a landlord can do towards a tenant?
It can be a requirement. Yes.
It can be a requirement.
Yes.
Okay.
You can make it part of a lease agreement because remember, as the landlord, you have the control over which tenants you allow in. You interview them, you decide the deposit, you decide all of the terms. So you can make that part of that. You have to carry renter's insurance. So yes, I think that's the only thing about this video I like is he does suggest making sure that his tenants have renter's insurance. I think all landlords would be wise to include that in their contract. I think that's a very smart decision. Include renter's insurance as a requirement. But
excluding the part about the landlord paying for homeboys insurance policy thinking it
Exactly.
covers him.
Unless they want to just roll it into the lease, same as
That's
you might
entirely
do with, like, your
possible,
electric's included or your cable's included, like your renter's insurance is included too. Because maybe you're a landlord and you got a great buddy relationship with John, who has the best policy terms in the world, and he can hook you up with better coverage that's cheaper. So in the end, it actually helps the family that's renting, and it helps you as a landlord control it. So there could be a mutual benefit there if it's done right. But I do agree that, yes, always carry renter's insurance as a renter. As a landlord, make sure your renters have renter's insurance. Make that part of your contract. That is the only thing I agree with from this video.
I want to take it one more notch before I go to the next one. And I want to talk about more on the higher view from this. How do we get, and let's talk a little bit more solution based. How do we get people to kind of go against their nature and seek professional advice instead of believing whatever? Because no matter, we've been beating ourselves the same drum for years. All right, yeah, get mentorship, get this. They don't listen. So what do you give me some? What do you guys think? How do we?
Well,
get
an easy answer there, Brandon, is they're going to have to learn the hard way if they don't, and maybe that's going to be their sign to stop doing it that way and then seek an advisor the next time around.
Right. So they got to
piggyback on that. Sorry,
John, go first.
I'll piggyback on that as someone who has learned most of my life lessons the hard way. Please get some actual advice from a licensed professional. Right. Just please. Sorry. Go ahead. The rest of you guys.
I was going to suggest too, keep in mind, I think part of the problem that most families run into is I don't think anybody just thinks to themselves, I really don't want professional advice. I want to go just search this online and hope I guess my way through this. Like, everybody, if they're smart, appreciates good advice, but they don't know who to go to. So people like those in, as an example, the real estate position in particular, because they're usually the first point of contact in buying a property. If you're buying a home as a homeowner, that's the first point of contact, because even though I'm supposed to be the first point of contact, people don't do it right, and they go to the realtor first because they don't know any better. So the realtor is always the first point of contact because that's just what they do. That realtor is in a prime position now to be that person that can curate good professional contacts to refer the client to. Good realtors that I work with, they'll actually have a list that they've curated of all these professionals and say, here, home buyer, this is my preferred 50 professionals of everything you ever need that I've created. If you have any needs at all, please call them. And by the way, since you just bought this home, I would highly encourage starting with this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then they'll make an introduction and say, hey, client, you guys need some insurance here. I want to introduce you to John. John, here's clients. And then you need some advice on your next investment strategy here that you're going to do with real estate. Well, Andrew, here's an introduction to these people. They want to talk about real estate investing and concepts there. And they need mortgage advice. So they're going to introduce them to Brandon or David here and give mortgage advice, and the contractor and the landscaper and the whatever that they need. Make the introduction to the professional, take it away from the client. There's a great phrase, one of the top sales professionals in our space, he says it all the time, and I love it. It's his podcast. It's the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. He says, people love to be led and led well. So lead them well. Don't just leave it to chance. Lead them and help them.
I'm going to push back a little on this, and this kind of sets us up for the next clip. I think it all sounds good, but I think that's going to be the very minority now. I think the masses, which is 51% or more, are not very, lack of better, are lazy. Yeah. They're lazy. And B, they don't want to spend any money. So if you're not aware of that, I need this advice, you're going to think you got it covered. Well, I heard
If they're not ready to
yeah,
spend any money, then
right.
they might not be ready to make what's probably going to be one of the biggest investments of their lives.
Well,
But
let's
don't
talk
forget,
about the common joke.
too, it's a free. Almost every professional you'll ever meet, anybody watching this, they will give you a free consultation. There is almost no profession that will not start with a free consultation. So it is free to meet with the professionals.
A good point.
Most of these professionals only get paid if and when you implement products and advice later. So make the introduction, have the conversation.
Well, this is the point. What I'm saying. So, for example, if you don't know that you need this stuff and you heard this from somewhere else and you figure you got it covered, they're not going to seek out a professional because you don't know that you need to seek out a professional. You know, so hey, I heard from this guy, this guru, that this is what you do. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You know, so how do we get people start to be serious about life? You know, for lack of better words.
To that point, people don't know they need a doctor usually until they're sick and they're hurting, and then they go see the doctor, or they're not sick yet.
Right.
But they got their blood work done. They got they got some things checked, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, you know, there might be something a little abnormal here. And then all of a sudden you get this diagnosis of, okay, well, this might be going on. We need to run some more tests. And then, hey, guess what? You have something minor or something serious that needs to get addressed. You wouldn't know if you didn't go have that checkup. So get the checkup, especially if it's free, get the checkup. At least figure out what you might need. And then you can make the informed decision. Again, the power of ownership. You're now in control. You have ownership of your choices. You can decide what you want to do. You don't have to implement what the advisor says, but at least get the information. And like you said, Brandon, I know a lot of people, unfortunately, they're not coachable. They are sometimes lazy. But that's where I think, again, coming back to the good advisors. Oh, we lost Andrew here. The good advisors will push people to the right professionals. That's something that I think I pride myself on. Oh, there's Andrew. He's back.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
But yeah, I pride myself on this, and I'm sure you guys do too, is when I have a client, I'm always looking for ways I can push them to the next professional down the list. Always. I'm asking questions all the way through. Who's your financial advisor? Who's your tax CPA accountant? Who's your insurance agent? Who do you have a contractor for the work you said you wanted to do? I'm asking these questions on call one, discovery call with the client. And I'm making notes and planning names in my checklist so that by the time we're ready, once we get further in, then I'm like, okay, you said you wanted this. John, Andrew, Brandon, here's the introductions. These clients need you.
David, what I really like about that is you are controlling the variables there by introducing them to the right professional. It's in your best interest just as much as it's in their best interest. So you're creating that win-win. So you're not putting time, money, effort into whatever you're doing with someone to have it fail because they lack the education or the effort to go find whoever else that they need to find and connect with to not make that vital mistake, right? So I love hearing that. You're taking that proactive approach to be like, I know all these really smart people. Here are the people that you need to talk to, and in this order to make sure that you get to the finish line.
Yeah. If not us, who?
Right.
They got nothing except Google or social media like this, where they're watching some random guy talking about the wrong thing with insurance and getting bad advice. So if it's not us, who? We need to create better quality professionals. And overall, I think in general, we're moving that direction as we're seeing more and more falling out of the industries. As things have gotten tougher regulations, I know in our space in real estate mortgage, we have seen a massive decline in licensed professionals, which is good, very good. I've been waiting for this for so long, and I am so happy that we are finally getting down to the core good people left. But if we just do the right thing and we just assume, unless the client tells you otherwise, they need and want this education. They want these resources. I do. I know enough to be dangerous, but if any of you said, hey, I know a really good guy in this space that can help you with this thing, would you like an introduction? I'll be like, yeah. Even if I know another guy, I still want to talk to this guy because I still want his opinion. And then now I can get ideas and I can formulate my thoughts and my decisions and make a better informed decision. So just always keep assuming clients want this stuff. People need this stuff because they do. I believe they do.
I think it also adds like an additional level of credibility, not only to you, but also just, excuse me, you're creating a smooth referral process, because not only do they trust you, David, but the fact that you, David, are referring this other person, that I think that speaks volumes.
To your point, by the way, anybody's gone through sales trainings, when it comes to client retention, I forget what the exact stats are. So don't quote me on this, but I believe it's something like if you implement one product with the client, you've got a 50% or so retention rate with that client. Maybe not even that. But if you implement 2 products with the client, it jumps up to over 80% retention. If you implement 3, it's over a 95% retention rate, I believe is what it is. And again, we could probably Google this stuff and find it. Like anybody watching this later, go find the stat actually. So the cool thing about that is you don't have to be the one implementing the product. I have had many clients over the years where they've come to me. We are not ready to buy a house. We are not ready to refinance the property. They don't qualify. We're not ready. But I get the information. I listen. I introduce them to 3 other people, Brandon, Andrew, and John, for other needs that they have. You all 3 implement a product. That just created a 95% plus retention rate for me. Mm-hmm. And now that client, 3 years later, I get a random email, and this has happened many times, more than I can count. I get a random email saying, David, you helped direct me to so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so 3 years ago, and now I would like to buy a house. And all of a sudden,
when it goes all full circle like that, that's so cool.
It's so cool when that happens. And I want that to happen for all of my partners too, where all of a sudden I get a call saying, hey, David, you were the one that you were introduced to me by this guy, and I just wanted to make sure I lost his information. Can you get me back to him? And then I get to refer him back to John or whatever, because maybe they for whatever reason, I stayed in better touch or however that worked out. Like, it's cool when you have that team camaraderie, that round robin advice platform. You build your team of advisors, and all the wealthiest people in America, this is what they do. They have their team of advisors. There is no reason why every person can't have that. The reason that they don't have it, I think, is mainly just because people don't know they can. They're not even aware that this is an option. They think it's going to cost money. But if you knew this was free, to create your team of advisors, to give you good advice, so you stay off social media watching this stuff where someone's saying to do something wrong, more people would do it if they just knew.
Gotcha.
On that note, getting insurance quotes, whether it's me or anyone else, insurance quotes are free. And
Yes.
Talk to the agent that is writing these quotes for you and ask them why they're doing what they are, why they're placing you with, even if it's on like auto insurance, why is this agent writing you at this level of liability? Or why is this agent writing you at this level of property damage? And that's all free information.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't want to, because I want to get to the next.
A whole different direction, aren't you, Brandon?
Yeah. I think y'all missing,
here.
Let's do this next clip, and maybe this next clip I'll tie it together, and maybe because we still missing it. Now this is a fun one, So let's go to this next one. So I think I don't think my point
This is the one I was actually, I think, confused by when you put it out there that we were watching.
This is the good one, and I'm gonna go first on it.
Yeah, this one.
Turn over here. Get it. We're filming a video.
There's a 2-year-old kid that lives in that house.
Okay.
I want to talk to him. No. Hop in. Let's go. Come on.
No, I want to talk to him.
We'll talk to
I just want.
him. Just hop in.
What?
It's not on the kids. Get in the car. I'm not asking.
I get it. You can leave us alone. A 2-year-old?
Yeah.
Why does that matter?
Who's driving the car when he's fucking around with a skateboard?
Just relax, bro.
Just do it somewhere else. Take my picture.
Take it.
In the car. The hell do you think this is?
That is annoying.
No, you don't get to make your own decisions. Stop. You don't run shit. You don't sit there and bicker old people. You hop in and you leave. We're sitting here ghost riding the whip in the neighborhood. Stop acting like we're not in the wrong. And then you're antagonizing him. If he goes and slaps you, I have to go grab him. You don't get to do that. If he gets in your face now, I have to fight him. So you don't get to act all big and bad when you're with your man. It's not funny. Now he's gonna call the cops, and now there's problems. Now I have to deal with it. And I told you, get in the car. You need to learn to listen to me. No, you didn't. You're talking shit to him. It's not a safe thing. I have to scream at you to get you in the car. You won't get in. You're sitting there talking shit to him. It's not okay to do that.
I get it. You don't go too far.
I said 5 times, get in the car. You have this ego that you think it's okay.
People think we're doing something wrong.
We are doing something wrong. We're totally in the wrong. We're in front of his house.
Okay, I get it. Just please stop.
I need you to say, next time that happens, I will listen to you,
I
Judah.
understand. Yes. I don't need to be yelled at.
Yes, you do.
No.
You wouldn't get in the car. I had to scream at
It's
you.
acceptable for me to yell at you.
Yes, if I'm not listening to you and you're arguing with a grown man,
Hey,
yes.
There's no reason for us to yell at each other. It's fine. I understand. You gotta.
This one is fun because it got to. It could. I could see somebody looking at just the base level of it, and and invoking emotions and not getting the overall point. This is what I got from it. Most people call what the older guy did being the Karen. That's the new term, right? Being the Karen, being I guess the root word is care, because he cares about his neighborhood. He cares about the safety of people that's around there. He's taking ownership of his neighborhood. He is in the right. You're operating a motor vehicle in his neighborhood irresponsibly. And him being in there, that looked like a pretty good neighborhood. It looked like a $2 million house. Depends on where you're at. Maybe a little bit more if it's in California. I don't know where it's at. But that looked like a pretty good neighborhood. And you're driving, you're having a motor vehicle moving without you being behind the wheel, which is super dangerous. And he called him out on it. The female in the video didn't think it was a big deal. We're not doing anything wrong. And the guy finally owned up like, hey, yeah, we are wrong. And hey, listen, you need to listen to me and not antagonize the guy. He's right. We're wrong. Let's. I don't know. I had a temporary lapse of judgment here. Let's go ahead and right this wrong. I think that is a lot of things. I think this needs to happen in a lot of circumstances. I think what happens now is that between right and wrong, it's gotten too blurry. The line is, if you're in the wrong, own up to it.
Gray area now.
It's a gray area now. Like, I'm not hurting anybody, but that's not the point. You have the potential by acting irresponsibly, and he's trying to prevent that. If that makes sense. So he's taking ownership. How does this relate to what we do? I think if more people take ownership of themselves and more responsibility to do the right thing in all circumstances. When you think, I don't think they thought nobody was watching them, and I thought if I don't hurt anybody, it's nothing that's not wrong, and you got to take responsibility at all times, whether you think somebody's watching you or not, and then that's another thing is like, I like what he did. I like it. He took, hey, I'm the man. Get in the car. Let's go. We're wrong. I like that. So I think that needs to happen more. Take ownership of the relationship. Hey, I'm protected, because what happens is if he zerks out or he wigs out and he punches you, I'm going to jail because I'm gonna have to protect you. He's looking down the line. So I like that somebody had in this world, how wacky it's getting, somebody had a reason that came all of a sudden. I like that. So I'll leave it at that. I'll yield the floor.
Yeah.
On that. I think it's David next, and then round robin.
Yeah, I'll go next. Welcome back, Mar. Hope your video's working here.
Yeah, no, everything is good now. I'm hooked up to my TV.
Good deal. Good deal. We were just watching a video, if you saw it ahead of time, the one about the skateboarder with the car and the Aaron, as we call it, the man that came out. Yeah, I like the point of just simply, like you said, Brandon, the ownership of that. Just they were in the wrong. He's looking ahead. And that's the thing, is like, look ahead, look at the consequences of what your actions might entail. It doesn't matter what people are doing around you, how they react. You know, only you can control you and how you handle the situation. So I think he handled it well overall. I mean, everybody was a little tense and maybe said some things I think all of them maybe shouldn't have said in this particular interchange. But talking about focusing on the power of ownership podcast here, taking ownership for your actions, the responsibility that you have. The man that was taking responsibility, owning his community, taking a look at what is happening in his own backyard right there. Like, he has a right to take ownership and like, I want to protect this family. I want to protect this child. You know, the husband or boyfriend here, he's saying, I want to protect you, honey. And she's probably thinking, I'm, in a way, in her mind, she's thinking, I'm protecting him because, you know, he's not doing anything wrong. Why are you coming at us? Like, you know, everybody's trying to take ownership, right or wrong. So it's good, but that's the main thing I want to drive in, is there's a right way and a wrong way to take ownership too.
And being able to recognize when you are wrong.
Yes. Recognize, be humble enough to admit it, but also, even if you are willing to admit it, how are you going to handle it? And because if you're going to yell and swear and attack and all that, that's not the way to handle it ever. Never the way to handle it for conflict resolution. So just be careful with that. And this can happen in any time with business too. Somebody gets heated about something happened they didn't like, something came back the way they didn't like with underwriting, something doesn't like the way the timing is going to work out for closing or whatever. People get heated because it's an emotional experience. Take ownership, stay in control, be calm, be kind. Remember, everybody's on the same page. We're all a team here. We're trying to help each other in that instance. So just remembering that point when it comes to real estate related topics as well. Things may not always go the right way, but you can control you. I actually had a client situation that was kind of rough here a few months ago where things didn't go quite as expected. No fault of anyone's in particular. Just things kind of worked out timing wise with so many items that happened that just created a challenging scenario that several people got heated in it, including the clients. And I'm sitting here trying to play mediator with everybody, but I respected, and I told the client at the end, I'm like, I just want to say, I want to give you kudos for how cool you were. Like, you got a little heated for a second, you dropped back down on your tone, and then you ran with this, and you tried to do everything you could in your power to make it work, and it all worked out fine. It was all fine. But the only reason I said it worked out that way is because of you. If you blew up and you started attacking all the people on your team that are trying to help you here, and you weren't listening and following the advice because you're just mad, we wouldn't have closed. You would not have this house today. So the fact that you kept your cool, you took ownership of this, you understood what had to happen, you knew what you had to do, we still got you in the home, and it all worked out just fine in the end. So I think this applies very often in the real estate game too.
That signifies emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, it sounded like your client was in the heat of the moment, feeling it, felt himself or herself internally escalating it, if you will, but then took a step back, probably did like a bird's eye view of him or herself, and was like, all right, you need to calm down, recollected thoughts, and got back to being full steam ahead.
Yeah, I was very happy that it all worked out, because I have had the opposite happen too. And I'm sure you guys have as well.
Oh, yes.
You have a client that just, they for whatever reason, they don't like it, they blow up, and they are not backing off. This is you work for me, I am entitled, the entitlement concept, like everyone, I'm the client, bow down and worship me and bend over backwards and change the laws. Change the stuff, like somehow magically
change the underwriting requirements.
Yeah, change underwriting. It doesn't work this way, but that's what they think. And then sadly, once in a great while, it's rare for me personally, but it happens all the time out there in the world, I know, where they'll just jump ship and leave and go to the next professional and the next professional and the next professional. And they get more and more angry and frustrated as things keep failing because they're not taking ownership of their own actions and emotions and controlling it. So just trying to take this video and apply it into our world of real estate. I see this happen often with others out there, and once in a while you'll see it happen even with my clients or situations too, or even sadly other professionals I work with, the realtor often is the worst one. No offense to realtors, Dunbar, but they're usually one of the worst culprits. They're the ones that create the emotion for the client because they're the ones that overreact. So everyone keeps their cool, ownership communicates well, things go well.
Right. Andrew, you want to?
Yeah, I'll expand on what you guys said, but not from the emotional kind of point of view here, but from the accountability around effort. And I'm putting on my sales team leader hat right now. So there's another clip I think that we'll see shortly here, Brandon, that we kind of viewed before the show aired. But you have to hold yourself accountable. And I'll give an example. Like if I have an appointment setter on my team and they have to set 10 appointments a week and they don't, I was all about accountability through metrics and data. It wasn't like, I think Brandon tried really hard, so I'm going to let him slide this time. But Brandon's ability to say, you know what, I didn't put in the dials, right? I didn't do this. Kind of like the driver. I don't know if that was a husband or a boyfriend or whoever. He was like, you know what, we were wrong. Instead of getting into another, news story headline, he was like, we're wrong. We're sorry. And then he just got out of there, but he kind of changed course. And I think, David, you said this, like he admitted, or he like held himself accountable and said, no, this isn't going to happen. For me as a team leader, when I was operating that way, it was always, well, David, did you do X, Y, and Z? And in real estate sales, I'm not sure if it's a apples to apples comparison here, but it's just a marketing math equation at the end of the day. Like, how many mailers do you have to send? How many calls do you have to make? How many appointments? All the way down through closed revenue. But holding the team accountable to that, and then them saying, okay, yes, David, you say, yeah, I didn't make the necessary amount of calls I needed to make to meet my quota, but I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. That's how we got better and better. And I like seeing that guy, the driver, who I think was driving a Lamborghini SUV, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there. Right. But it just means like he's got that mentality, right? He's got the emotional intelligence that John mentioned, but he's also got that just the normal IQ of like, I'm going to be a better person by doing this and getting his wife or girlfriend, whoever that was, out of that scenario the way he did before it escalated to anything further.
Right. Dunbar, I don't know if you checked out that clip beforehand or.
I did. Okay. So
what do you think about that?
So this is why I lean on other professionals in the real estate industry outside of realtors, because what they were trying to do, they were trying to look cool, right? So you're trying to look cool, you telling people stuff that you really don't know, and then
I'm talking about the one with the ghost riding the road.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. They were trying to look cool. They were trying to do some, like they were trying to go viral or.
Okay, I got you.
Just, right, they were trying to look cool, and then so just relating it to like being a realtor, you can't try to look cool and you can't answer questions that you don't know. And when you're in the wrong, you have to actually step up and say, hey, you know what? Well, I'm in the wrong here. I thought I knew something that I didn't do, and that goes further than trying to deflate or deflect anything that you may have said wrong. But that's why I aforementioned that that's why I don't speak outside my lane. I'll have professionals that are in the real estate game that I can also reach out to get the definite answer. But I do think it is from the guy standpoint, emotional intelligence, and then trying to rein, of course, the lady in. But how I would relate it is, you want to be cool, you want to know all the answers to everything that anybody would ask. But at the end of the day, when you get called out on it and you're wrong, you also got to admit that you're wrong if you did not do your research.
Right. But
on our team, we used to tell people to not fall into that scenario, right, of lying or making something up if you didn't know the real answer, to say, I don't know that, sir,
but let me get back to you.
Let me go check, and I will double check and get back to you. I hope that's okay. Because that is much better than saying, hey, David, yeah, rates are at 4%. and there really is 6, and then you're pissed off at me. So if it's okay for anyone listening, if you don't know the answer, I think people appreciate that more than getting lied to.
Right. So, I'm a former NASA scientist. My technical monitor, when I'm going and writing papers and all this good stuff, and I'm going to him and asking him stuff that I think he would know, and he said, I don't know. We got to figure it out. We don't know. And what he told me, it always stuck to me. If you don't know, you don't know. It's simple. It's simple. But if you don't know, you don't know. So it's nothing wrong with not knowing.
And that's when you call David's Rolodex of all of these people.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. I want to bring one more point up before we well, 2 things. A, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the video. Don't forget to comment, and we'll read the comments live here on air. If you got any questions for our panelists, please go ahead and put it in right now. We'll read it live here. Also, I wanted to make one more comment, and I want to get into our BDM program real quickly for a brief intermission before we go to the last 2 clips. But I want to say this as far as the clip. I think personal responsibility has become a lost art. I think what that guy did, and it was kind of against the norm, which is sad. It should be the norm. Everybody's trying to go viral. Everybody's trying to be out wacky each other, out weird each other. And it's going kind of against the standards of how we built the society. We built the society on morals, ethics, communal goals and values, and that's how it was built. When you start degrading that and you kind of get what we got now, this kind of wacky world. I like what he did as far as he didn't back down. She was trying to calm him down and like, nah, why you don't have the right to yell at me. And yeah, I do. When you're not listening to me. So and I like that. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna stand my ground. I am in the right as far as I am in the right, we're in the wrong. So this is wrong. Let's go ahead and make this right. Let's go ahead and do the right thing. Let's not antagonize the guy, because don't forget that I am ultimately responsible for it. So personal responsibility. Don't forget, you got to respond to your abilities. And emotional intelligence is part of those abilities. You got to respond to those abilities. All right. You have this gift. You have this discernment. Now you got to use it. And that's part of being an adult, and that's part of ownership. You got to own the things that you've given. You've got this God-given thing. Why not discernment? Why not use it? I get you want to go cool, want to be cool, want to go viral. However, hey, this might not have been a good idea. So own up to it. With that being said, before I go to the next clip, Nexa Lending, our parent company, does have a BDM program, which is Business Development Manager. If you guys want to make some extra money, if you want to get paid for the conversation that you already having about mortgages, if you want to get paid, we can't say the R word, but you want to get paid for a mortgage conversation.
For your marketing efforts, that's the key.
For your marketing efforts, in that Rolodex that David was talking about, we have a program for you, and I'm gonna play this 45-second clip, and then we go get to the next one. If you're a realtor and you're not getting paid for the mortgage conversations you're already having, we need to talk. You're speaking to buyers, sellers, past clients, your sphere every single day, and every time financing comes up, you're creating opportunity, but you're earning zero from it. At Nexa Lending, we've built a compliant business development manager program that lets you get paid for the business you generate without becoming a loan officer. No licensing, no quoting rates, no collecting docs. You simply connect people. We handle the mortgage. You get paid as a W-2 business development employee. Refinances, your CRM, your sphere, other agents you introduce. You're already creating the business, now you monetize it. If you're serious about adding a real additional income stream this year, click the link, message me directly, and let's get you activated in under 10 minutes. And that QR code at the upper right hand, if you're interested in that, that's going to be David's Calendly. Make sure you say that you seen it on the Power of Ownership podcast, and if you're interested in making some extra money for 2026, that you're already having a conversation, please be welcome to. We'll talk to you about it, and you want to get more details. Let's go to this next.
We'll get you to the right person. We'll get you to the right place.
Gotcha. Let's go to this next clip. We're making pretty good time. We got about 20 more minutes here. We might go a little bit over, but let's see. All right, can y'all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's run it.
The reality of being a realtor is I'm driving to my closing, big fluffy coat, looking like a hot shot, right? The reality is that I haven't had a closing since September, and your girl is broke. I'm literally driving my dirty ass car to my closing because I can't afford to get a car wash. I'll show you. Bird poop, whatever the heck. I have no idea what is on that or how dirty. Tell, but it's dirty. It's really dirty. So I'm really excited to afford a car wash after this.
Well. Real estate agent, I told you this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. I don't know if you guys have heard, but 70%, let me repeat this again, 70% of realtors in 2025 didn't sell out. Damn.
The reality of being a realtor is
Right. So Dunbar, I know that
finished with Will Smith. That was well played.
Dunbar, you want to go ahead and speak to that? Not saying you didn't close it, you know what I'm saying? Since you're in that team.
Yeah, I've heard. She mentioned 2025. What was last year? Right. I've heard that about the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. I'm not sure how that happens, honestly. I'm not sure how that happens, other than just lack of effort. I mean, I think if you have any effort in any sphere, if you're really reaching out to your sphere and you really putting in some effort, I don't see how you couldn't close at least one house in a year. And then another thing about being a realtor, you can get paid for multiple different things. You can property manage. You could be a leasing agent. You could be a landlord agent. You could be, So I mean, those are things that also you can make money from, and it's not bad as long as you have the volume. And that's with anything. Because if you sell one house, that's nothing. But I mean, I've heard that year in and year out. I'm not sure how that happens, though, to be honest. Even when I was part time, I was, I was at least, one. I'm not sure how that happens. So that's all I got to say.
Well, I'll tell you how it happens. Most people get the license and think that's going to be the ticket. Hey, I made it. I got a license now. So automatically, people are going to start flooding to my door because I'm me. And, that's it. No work, no effort. Just because I'm me, people should do business with me. And that's most people's attitude. Most people's attitude through life is, hey, it owes me something. I deserve it. I don't have to put any effort in. I deserve this. This is most people's attitude. Most people get the license, and after they run out of their family and friends, they have no clue how to market, how to prospect, how to actually go out and get the business. Because I think what happens is the real estate license is too low of a hanging fruit. I think they need to put more stuff into it so they could wean out some of the people that they have as real estate agents. Because it's very easy to get. You can take a week or so and take the course and then get a license. That's it. So I think if they had more restrictions, and they might have more serious people. But I think it's a trend, period. Like, most people expect something, but they don't put nothing into it. They expect $1 million results, $1 million yields, and they put in lunch money effort. And that's just what this is. And that's with everything. That's what the earlier clips, as far as with the knowledge. They want to they want everything to be okay because they're them, but you didn't put any effort in to find out what type of insurance you really needed in order to get into this. They want to do these things as far as go viral, but you didn't take any effort. Like, hey, this guy, there's a what was it, a child that's hard of hearing to you didn't take any effort to research this before you went ghost riding and whipping that neighborhood. So most people don't take life serious. They don't take ownership of life and doing research and doing the necessary foundational things in order to get the results that you want. I'll yield the floor from there.
No, Andrew, you jump in.
Yeah. There's a few things I don't like about videos like this. Number one, I'll question the validity of the statistic in question to begin with, because I've also seen like Dunbar last year, the year before that, but I've seen multiple videos from last year being 2025 of 80% or 90%. So I put that in question too. And to Brandon, your point, the barrier of entry into this real estate license world is very low. I totally agree with that. But if let's just go on a whim that says, okay, 70% is a true number, right? I would highly question that's true, but let's just, for the sake of this conversation, does that include only active licensees? Does that include inactive licensees? Does it include people doing this all full time, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week? Or does it include people with the license that also have a W-2 40-hour a week job? Who knows? My question more often than that part of it, because I just don't believe in those type of negative connotations about the real estate industry, is why post something like that? So what that 70% of real estate agents didn't close a deal in 2025? To what end? What was the point of that video? So there's a lot of things that we see that all the time that I just don't understand why someone would post it to begin with. But then I don't even think there's truth that much. I'm sure there is a lot of truth. Like, yeah, maybe some people struggle to do business. And my third part, Brandon, is the licensees that do put in a level of effort to do this full time, they do not treat it like a business. They treat it like, oh, I'm on HGTV. I work with David. He buys $1 million house and I take the next 5 months off because I made 80 grand. I have these conversations all the time with real estate professionals that can't even tell me where their last 10 deals came from, but they're doing like 20 million in volume or 50 million or 150 million. And I'm like, start treating this like a business, you guys, because if you can do 20 million flying blind, not knowing what the hell you're doing, could you be doing 100 million if you had it dialed in and you knew your data and you knew your numbers? Every other industry talks about, you're not really running a business until you know your numbers. And the real estate world is not any different. It is a business. You have to treat it like one.
Could I jump in next on that? So just to back up your point, I'm going to throw another article here in the chat. Now there's a few places you could go to look this up, but you need a subscription to be able to get into most of them. So this is a free one. You don't need a subscription to it. It's a long one because it's a Google search thing. I was trying to get the exact one, but whatever. Anyways, this link here will show you that you're exactly right on the money, Andrew, that this stat is true. However, it's considering everyone in the entire country that happens to have a license is registered with the MLS. This might be somebody that gets one just to buy their own property. And that's all they're doing is buying their own property or buying one rental, and that's it. And they're done.
David, I'm part of that statistic. I have a license. I haven't sold a house in 3 years, but it's active. My team does 20, 30 deals a month. I'm not in that's not going under my, my numbers. So I am part of that statistic. And how many of me are there out there?
Yep.
Now that we're talking about it, I was part of that at one point because I did apartment locating and I had to get my real estate license
to fall into that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything, really. Exactly to your point, Andrew. It doesn't mean anything.
It's a headline that it grabs attention, David.
I think that girl was super proud of her fur coat and she wanted other people to see it.
I wanted to argue too, by the way, in that video, why couldn't she go to the gas station for free and grab a little wiper and just swipe that off the front of the windshield? I don't understand that, but
let's be real. She wanted sympathy points. This is my point. Now I agree with you. The statistic might be inflated. However, it doesn't negate the point I brought up as far as there are people that's like that. There are people, and I would say it's close to the majority. I would say 51% or more, especially in our area in Houston, that there's 85,000 realtors and only probably 2,000 to 3,000 actually make any money at this. Yeah. You know, so those statistics are real. Most people get, let's be real, they get and I get the outliers. I get people that get the license. I'm one of them. I got my license just to refer because I'm a mortgage broker, but I got my license just to refer out, so I get 30% because I got tired of giving out, making other people rich and not getting anything. But anyway, I get it. However, the reason I brought the clip to there are people that don't take ownership of their business. Mm-hmm. And then, like Andrew said, they don't treat this as a business. They treat this as a lottery, or I don't know what they're treating it as. It's all of a sudden that deals just supposed to fall out of the sky.
Here's why this happens, in my opinion, you guys. Shows on HGTV made it a fantasy world of like, oh, I'm going to get rich by doing this. You know, whatever, that happens. Right. And perception, you guys. Like, you go to turn on YouTube, turn on Instagram, turn on Facebook, and write down 50 agents that you see driving Ferraris, going on vacation, and then be like, show me your P&L, David. And I guarantee it is not going to be that perceived value. Everyone's acting, right? This is all like perception game that everyone's playing. The ones that are like that in real world aren't flashy. They're running their business like a business. They're not worried about
running it instead of being flashy.
Exactly. So I would assume or take a wager out that says, you give me a list of like 500 people that are super flashy, doing everything and eating at fancy restaurants all the time. Let's really peel back the onion on their business. And I guarantee it's not all it looks like on social media, just like everything else on social media.
Right. Yep. I was thinking too, I think the reason why this is a stat that's shared, because I hear it perpetuated over and over in our world, is that 70+% of realtors have not sold a home in the last year. I hear it all the time. I think the main reason it's said is because those that are selling and are closing even one transaction, it makes those closing feel better about themselves and maybe justify their lack of closings, but still saying I'm better than the ones not closing. I'm kind of in that camp myself. My business is nowhere near where it was a few years ago. I used to be a top producer, top 1%. Now I'm not. And there's a little bit of imposter syndrome that I struggle with sometimes with that point, because I've moved companies 3 times. I'm trying to rebuild my team, rebuild my brand, rebuild my systems and my marketing. And it's taken me a hot second to do that. So there's a little bit of that embarrassment, I think. And because of that, it's like, well, 70% of others didn't close anything at all. So like, I'm way better at least because I closed, 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever the number is for you, like in your space. I can see how that can give you that elevated pride. It's pride, it elevated perception. Yeah,
it's a coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism, exactly. Right. Also, when you're what was I going to say at this point? I lost my train of thought.
Well, I could agree with that. Like I said, most people compare this. Hey, at least I'm on the ground, but at least I'm not in the gutter. Yes. And it's a minimalistic standpoint and viewpoint. I get that. But however, that's why I put #deliberate. Most people don't live their lives deliberate. They don't do anything deliberate. They kind of see what's going on and then kind of reactionary. All right, I'm broke now. Maybe I need to sell a house. I had, did you think about this 6 months ago that, you might be broke after this money runs out? Like Andrew alluded to, I sold this one house. Then 5 months, now I got to work because I ran out of money. So
It goes
But-
back to that accountability discussion we had too. Dunbar said, finds it very hard to believe if you put in effort that 70% of those in the industry couldn't sell a house. I mean, that's just like dialing 50 calls a day.
It's sales. It's a numbers game.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
just-
put in the effort. Eventually, there's going to be something.
Yeah. Once you know the level of effort of like 45.2 outbound calls gets me a deal, then it becomes that numbers game. But even if I today just started calling 50 to 100 people a day, I guarantee you I could close at least a deal a month by that. It's just like,
yeah,
there's no way you wouldn't be able to.
But Dave, before you do that, let's be honest. Most people want to make more than a job that's working 40 hours, but they do not put 40 hours in their profession. Let's be all the way honest. They put 4 hours. You know, because most realtors don't answer the phone. Let's be all the way 100 honest. So if you put 4, how do you expect to make more than you
Dunbar
did?
answered the phone whenever I would call him.
Who?
Dunbar was always good about answering the phone.
Always.
Yeah, Dunbar is an anomaly, but let's talk about the majority. Most realtors do not answer the phone. They do not take this serious. They're not deliberate about their business. Let's be all the way. And that's just not realtors. I just want to say I'm picking on realtors. A lot of people that got businesses or they call themselves business owners, they want to just open a restaurant and think people will come. And that's not how this works. You got to have good food. Oh, I got good food. That's just that's one small part of the equation. How did they know you have good food?
I do have one that is I'm sorry to butt in.
No, this is what this is for. This is start the discussion. Yeah.
So there's more that goes into getting to your point, Dixon. It's more that goes into getting a real estate license than it does going into MLO license. Way more hours. I don't think it's the rubric or the instruction that is given. I think it's just the person that's going towards the goal, and that's really what it is. I don't think it's nothing that they can add to MLO licensing or real estate licensing that's gonna make people more successful, because your success comes from within, and you're kind of what you think about yourself and what you want.
Dunbar, I don't know if you share in the same opinion, but everything that I studied for when I took my real estate exam for the first time
didn't happen.
Well, it didn't help me do anything on the back end of it. Like I studied and I knew that an acre was 29,000 whatever square feet, right? And then you go to a brokerage and they're like
43 point something.
Yeah, and it was like nothing was applicable to my actual business. And then your brokerage just tells you go work your sphere and have conversations, but no one's actually like, here's how the business foundation principles should be set up. Get an LLC, get a bank account, and do the profit first or whatever it is, right? Here's how you look at a P&L. There's no like business fundamentals training out there. And that makes it incredibly difficult. So then by the time they actually get their license, go find a brokerage, and then just get told to lead gen, they're treading water. They're trying to keep their head afloat and just get that first revenue in the door. And then the good ones will be like, hey, I got to get organized with the CRM, with data and analytics, with this, with that, right? But for the most part, the majority, in my opinion, are just like, man, I just got to go get the next closing. And they never take time to work on the business. They're only going to remain in the business until they get burnt out or just kind of wither away.
They have no plan. No game plan. John, I'm interested in learning, because I get goosehead guys call me, like David said earlier, at least 2-3 times a week. Is it the same thing with these agents as it is with realtors?
With insurance agents?
Yeah, because they almost are. They're out. They're almost a dime a dozen as well. Like I already.
Oh yeah. Going back, like thinking when I was studying for my licensing exam, I probably used maybe 20% of all the stuff I studied. And but it is kind of a dime a dozen and the people that do succeed are the ones that actually buckle down and start. I don't know what point I'm trying to make. What's that?
Actually businessing.
Businessing. That's a
Yeah,
that's a new
that's
word.
A new word, man. Actually start businessing.
We're gonna contact Merriam-Webster dictionary and have businessing added to the dictionary.
You know, so
I wanted to ask the question. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but almost every time I have ever met, not all, but most top producers in any space, I am thoroughly unimpressed. I am like, you? How? You?
I could totally see that. Yeah.
And I'm just like, what
systems.
What did you do? And then you learn. Like, great example. One of the last companies I was with before I came here. Not naming names, but I asked them, like, who's your top producer? And they said, well, it's this gal over here. So I'm like, can I schedule a meeting with you? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to meet with you. Like, I'll happily talk and share what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, so show me what you're doing. She's like, so I jump on a Zoom with my clients and I show them this really cool, pretty flyer that I created. I'm like, okay, yep. And then they apply with me. I'm like, and no, that's it. No, what do you mean? Like, isn't this flyer pretty? Right. And I'm like, you literally are showing a flyer, and that's your pitch. And right. but then I learned later on. I learned the secret sauce. She is in like 50 different wine clubs with other grandmothers that all have their grandmother friends and their children and their grandchildren buying homes. And she's so well connected that she's just out drinking wine all day long with friends in the right places, in the right communities, in the right spaces, making the right friends that they all love and trust her. So there is no sale. She doesn't have to sell. They just all love her anyway. They give her all the business.
People buy from people they know and trust.
Exactly. They got to know you, like you, and trust you. So she's doing the right thing. That's how she's successful. She's building relationships. And it's funny how that's how it goes. It has nothing to do with you as much as it does to do with your work ethic and what efforts you're putting in. And it might be different for each person. I know some people that go to open houses all the time, some that don't, some that go to every closing, some that don't, some that, do mailers, some that don't, cold calling, some that don't. And there are successful people in all spaces that do and don't do different things, but whatever they've done, if they're a top producer, they've mastered and really honed in on the stats. Like you said, Andrew, like they know their numbers. Like you make this many calls, will there be this many X, answers. And of those many answers, X will say maybe, and X will say yes from there if you do this. And after meeting 2, X will convert, and your numbers.
Yeah. And well, they say everything works and nothing doesn't, right? Everything works, nothing doesn't.
Yes.
So whatever your system is, do it. But I think the problem, this is the disconnect. The people that's struggling, that don't close anything, they have no direction, no game plan. They have no system. They're not doing anything. And they expect stuff to come to them just because you're licensed or just because I have a shirt that says realtor on it. And that's not really a game plan, so you got to be deliberate on what you're doing. Whatever your game plan is, if it's calls, if it's dialing for dollars, if it's knocking doors, if it's social media, you got to actually do it, and you got to do it consistently. My mentor always said this: success is when you repeat victories over and over and over for a long period of time. That equals success. So you got to have these victories over the course of time. So yes, that was a small victory that she had. She got a closing. All right. Now what's your game plan to get the next one?
Yep. And that game plan should have already been kicked off before that even happened. What you just said, David, of like knowing how to go from top of funnel, a little bit lower, mid of funnel, all the way down. Like, that's great to know, David, but to take it even a step further, if you know like how many interested leads you need to close the deal, you go reverse engineer it. And then you figure out, okay, like when I'll give you a stat from like 4 or 5 years ago. We got it down to 10.2 interested leads per closed deal. Mm-hmm. So we knew that if we wanted to close 100, for example, I would need 1,000, right? And then we knew where to go and look and say, well, where did our 500 come from over the last year or 2 or 3 or wherever, right? We looked back at real tactical, tangible data. And then we use that to plan, predict, and project what we are going to do in the next month, in the next quarter, simply by crazy thought, knowing the numbers and seeing what actually worked, but most importantly, what did not work. So we stopped wasting money and time and effort on the latter and concentrated on the stuff that did, to get to our 80-20 Pareto principle of like, okay, these are the top 5 lead sources. And now we know the numbers, so we could really easily kind of figure out what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it with a real plan. And I think that's the big thing, Brandon, is like what you just said. There's no plan sometimes. It's just, oh, I'm going to work with David and close him. Oh, it closed, but where's the next David? Oh, crap. There is no next David. There's no pipeline. There's no database being nurtured.
There is no next David, by the way.
Right. The math don't lie.
Yeah. Math doesn't lie.
The math doesn't lie. And a lot of people don't use the data and statistics in their business. They kind of wing it, you know, and that's what it is, you know. So you got to get a plan. You got to get, and I would say Matt, and then sweat equity. Yeah. Matt, and rolling up your sleeves and doing it.
I'll say this is probably a conversation for another time, but numbers don't lie, Brandon, on lead sources, but also on team members as well. So we actually collected quite a lot of information and data on people and knew their ROI. Like if I was paying David $5K and he's bringing back $20K a month, that's awesome. Like he's great. Right. And it took the emotion out of the decision making at the leadership level too. If a lead source wasn't producing, I wasn't emotionally attached to it. If John wasn't producing as an appointment setter, it wasn't me saying, hey, I don't like you, John, or I like you, so I'm going to keep paying you even though you're not bringing back money. I said, John, you're supposed to set 10 appointments a week. For the last 3 weeks, you have set 1 or 2. What is going on? So you're proactively getting in front of it instead of reacting at the end of the year saying, oh my God, I paid John $60K a year and he brought back 20. I had no clue. So you can do it with people too. And I think that's incredibly important. And then if you have to have hard decisions, it's not my discretion or my feeling, right? It's like black and white.
The numbers are making the
yeah. And if you set expectations properly on the front end and say, hey, David, this is how this works. If you don't meet this, then you're not going to be on the team for a very long time. So when that conversation comes, it's not Andrew, it's not Brandon saying, let's get David out. It's the numbers.
Right.
I love that.
Let's get this last clip out the way because this is I'm going to slice this up. This might be 2 clips. We're going to pause it and then, but
yeah, I was suggesting 2 or maybe even 3 if you look at those timestamps essentially, Brandon.
I don't know if we got time for 3, so I might just, yeah, because we're all, you know, I want to kind of get this wrapped up in the next 10 minutes or so. So
this guy says a lot of what you just said, though, Andrew. So it's
right. So that's kind of why I put this at the end. Is like, all right, now we're going to solutions. All right, what are solutions? It's some of the common solutions in order for you to be #deliberate. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's go ahead and run this next clip. All right, let me know when y'all can see the screen here.
Got it.
All right, cool.
Salesman says nothing and only asks questions because there's nothing to disagree with. And fundamentally, they're going to believe way more of what they say than what you say. So you want them to say it, not you. And so you clarify whether they're there. C.
It reminds me of spies. I've interviewed a couple of CIA spies now, and every single one of them, I was expecting some like incredible technique or whatever. They all say, no, we just spend 6 to 8 weeks in the back of the cab listening to the Iranian taxi driver to figure out what his son has a health issue that we can then leverage later to get him to turn against his country. But the first 8 weeks, you're just listening to him offload. And they're like, it's crazy how people will just offload if you let them.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to talk.
100%. So one is, clarify whether they're there. L is label them with a problem that you can solve. So it's like, okay, so it sounds like you were here, you responded to my ad, you DM me thing, or you whatever because of this reason. Is that right? Right. So you get confirmation on the problem, which is L. Then you O, which is overview past experiences or past pain. So it's like, what have you done so far to try and solve this? And this is important because motivation is the opposite of deprivation. So the more deprived someone is of something, the more motivated they are to solve it. And so like if you haven't eaten in an hour, you're probably not that motivated. If you haven't eaten in 2 days, you're very motivated. If you haven't slept in, a day or you're normal motivated. I guess that was a bad one. But if you haven't slept in 3 days, you'll be incredibly motivated to sleep. And so we want to find what they're deprived of and then try to increase that deprivation in the conversation, basically make them more aware of the deprivation, the things that they don't have, right? Then once we have, enough deprivation that's very clear, it's like, okay, this is what you're here. You agreed with, this is the problem that you want to solve. You've tried all these things and it hasn't worked for you. I can imagine how frustrating that would be. S, which is then you sell, right? You sell a vacation.
All right. So that's the kind of meat. And I want to go on this like kind of first. Let me pause it right there. Let's, and I'll open it up and let's talk. The arts of persuasion. Robert Cialdini says this. One of the 6 principles of persuasion is people buy from who they like, trust, and believe. We talked about this earlier. And what's the number one subject that people like to talk about?
Themselves.
Yes.
Themselves.
Right. So as a salesperson, you need to find out about the customer. A lot of salespeople want to talk about me, what I've done. That a lot of times that's irrelevant. You got to be interested, not interesting. Interested, not interesting. And a lot of times when you start to get them talking, they will tell you how to sell them. They'll tell you exactly, all right, this is my problem. This is what I'm, like you said, this is what I'm deprived of. This is what and I have a game plan on how to sell them. But a lot of
you can get all that information just in a basic conversation during discovery.
In a basic discovery, and that's what I do with all my clients. I have a discovery, and I start talking about them, and they try to kick it to me. I kick it right back to them. Yeah. But hey, so let me ask you about this. And when they start to talking, all these endorphins are going, and they're feeling good. They're reliving their exaggeration in their life, and they're taking that feelings and transferring it to you. Now all of a sudden you're a good guy, and all I did was ask them questions about themselves and their kids and whatever else, and they're feeling good. That's how you sell. Not talking about, hey, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. Who cares? All that I. You're gonna be broke. Now you're on the floor from there.
I think one little thing that I changed very early in my career because I'm all referral based and it's all organic. We don't advertise or anything. So when looking for new real estate partners, like realtors or lenders, asking open-ended questions versus close-ended questions. Like, because if you ask a close-ended question and that whoever you're talking to, you're trying to get more out of them, and they say no, then there's that blank, awkward time where you're frantically trying to think of something else to say or something else to ask. But who, what, when, where, why, how, and just build off of it.
Right. Ask the questions.
We had a rule, John, on our team that you are only allowed to ask open-ended questions. For that reason alone.
I like that.
And I want to say this as well. The next layer of that is that most people hate to contradict themselves. So when you become a master salesperson, you ask the questions to get them to admit stuff out loud. And so you said that. I didn't ever said that. You said that you wanted to buy a house this month. You said that if the price is right, that you'll go for it. You said if I can get you a certain amount of interest rate, that you'll go for it. I didn't say this. I didn't push this on you. Now I boxed them in verbally themselves, and now it's going to be harder for them to contradict themselves. You didn't put your own self in the corner. You painted your own self in the corner with your words. So again, ask questions. The master salespeople ask more questions and make less statements. Anybody, Dumbo or David, y'all want to hop in on that? I keep going. This is my expertise, but
I was going to say, it's scriptural. James 1 verse 19 says, "Be quick. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to hear." Or sorry, quick to listen, slow to speak. Let me phrase it right. Quick to listen, slow to speak. It's something that is hard. It's hard to do. You want to, like, we are a wealth of information that we have accumulated in our careers with the training and the experiences we've gone through. Like, we want to, I think, out of passion, and if you're a good person, you care about people. If you do, you want to share this stuff. You're like, I want to share everything. But there's an art to holding back on this, trying not to do that. Ask open-ended questions. One thing I think a lot of salespeople struggle with, though, is what questions do you ask? And that's where I think having questions ahead of time can be very helpful, because people, like, everyone knows, ask more questions. Like, everyone knows that. Like, if you tell anybody you should really ask more questions, say less, listen more, everyone's going to be like, yep, I agree. But how do you put that into practice? You know what I mean?
John just said it. It's easy. It's what, when, who, how. It's the
yep.
What do you want? When do you want it? How you gonna pay for it?
But then how do you make it specific to your industry? How do you make it flow just right? Which questions are more important than others? I thought it might be worth just plugging, like, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I have this on my desk. I'm still going through it, but if I can show it a bit. NEPQ Black Book. It's pretty thick. I mean, it's a workbook that walks you through stuff. There's other books up here. I've got like question-based selling, the question behind the question. There's a lot of good books on this topic that just go through how asking and really mastering good questions, not just asking the questions in general, but it's the subtle way you ask it. Not can you introduce what's like for a referral, by the way, who do you know that you can introduce me to is different than can you introduce me to somebody? Can you introduce me to somebody? They'll say yes or no.
Who do you know?
Well, now you're forcing them to give you an answer of a person.
Right.
It's not a yes or no. There's subtle arts to little phrases and how you change the question. It's the same question basically, but you're phrasing it different. And then the sequence of when you ask them too matters. It's not even just the question; it's the sequence.
The sequence. That's the when you will master. You got to put hours in to master that. I think the questions themselves are easy because you're just having a conversation. One of the things I used to do with my trainees, because don't forget, before I got in the mortgage industry, I was a sales trainer, a corporate sales trainer. So this kind of my wheelhouse. I would have my trainees go to a public space and see how long they can hold a conversation with somebody without talking about themselves.
Oh, I like that.
So ask questions, keep asking questions. How long? And and how every week. All right. So you had 20 minutes. Let's see if you can do 25 this week. So how long can you keep a conversation going without one-upping the person? This is what we call one-upping. Oh, you went to Lake Cairo and caught a fish? Well, I caught a bigger one. Check this out. That's not what you want to do, because don't forget, we do this all the time. I do this 3-4 times a month. I need to get it to 7-8 times a month. They only do this maybe once in a lifetime as far as buying a house. So this is their time to shine. I'm trying to get in their pockets. So it's not about me. I do this all the time. It's about them. So, hey, what and I'm going to guide the conversation because I'm asking you certain questions to get you to admit stuff. But they had this guy, man, that's totally opposite of me. I'm listening to this guy. Every customer, he would tell them how what tattoos he has. And, and I'm an enthusiast on this and I'm this and I'm that. Like, bro, nobody wants to hear about you. It's about them. It's all about them. It's their time to shine.
Yeah.
Dunbar, you want
ask them about their tattoos. Could I
I thought it was kind of weird too. Hey man, because I got a tattoo on my chest.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say for those of us that might know this concept too, it might be a little easier to come more naturally if you've done it a long time. But when a new person's coming in, I think this is where a lot of people struggle is, well, give me the script. What do I say? What's the script? What do I say? I know with my trainees, when I was bringing in people to try to replicate me, I didn't give them a script and I didn't give them an application to fill out. I said, here's a list of about 50 questions and here's the order roughly I'd put them in. I want you to kind of go through this list, learn these questions and just ask all 50 questions here and fill in whatever they say. And then there's your application. And then get good at this and eventually make this your own and change it around. So it's your own questions. It's your own way. It's your own sequence. So you get better at just conversing. Like you said, Brandon, go start a conversation. and collect information about the other person, listen, and then from there do it. Which is why, by the way, like you as an example, you throw up your application every time we start. I don't like when people apply with me. If I get an application, I actually know something went wrong, because I don't want anybody to apply with me. That is never step one. Step one is a discovery call. Step two is the application if it makes sense to go to that point. I don't want them to apply with me, guess what they're supposed to put in and do to buy a house, and then we're going to go after the fact, try to work backwards of, so why did you put this in here? And what's this? And what's that? And why is this person in here? And why is this thing there? And why'd you put 12 bank statements in here? And why, you know, do you have one source of income or 10? And why is this wrong? And did you guess? And I don't want to deal with that. I want to know, tell me about your family, your goals, your kids, your focus here financially. Like, tell me about you. And then I'll tell you exactly how we should go about the application piece. And we can make it nice and short and easy. Simple. We'll take all that pain point out of going through all that extra work by letting me help you with it. So there's an art to this that I think even some of our top producers out there in our respective spaces just haven't really mastered yet. But all of us can improve. It doesn't matter how good you are. We all have room for improvement on this point. We can all do better.
David, I like those titles that you have. I have those too, and they're great. I would recommend, I don't know if you already do this already, but I read those types of things, and then I got recently got into neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. Have you looked at that yet?
I know of it. I haven't started researching it.
Yeah, so it's basically like the psychological approach between a relationship of like your thoughts, your behavior patterns towards their goal. So if you can not only take the language and the wording around like what you had just mentioned, like in, you know, any page in that black book, and then tailor it, it's like at the subconscious level, where you're not like tricking them, but you're setting it up in such a way that you accomplish your goal by helping them get to the point where they do the same with theirs as well. So
Rene Rodriguez, if you follow him, who's somebody I've gone through his Amplify coaching program that he does here. He's based in Minneapolis, where I'm located in Minnesota. I think it's up there. It's one of the books up there. But Amplify Your Influence. He went to school for neuroscience, and then he got into sales. So he takes and applies neuroscience and sales, neurolinguistics into this concept of facial expressions, tonality, voice inflection, pausing, all this stuff. Like he puts that into the subconscious that you got to watch for.
Yeah.
So if it's that kind of concept, if you don't follow him, that's a good one. Rene Rodriguez, anybody watching this, he's now become one of the top sales trainers in the world and has one of the #1 podcasts, top 10 in the world too now on this. So incredible teaching. But I learned more from that stupid podcast and one Amplify event with him that I went to than probably any other sales thing I've ever gone through.
Yeah, man. There's also a really cool book, and then I'll stop talking about books, but it's called What Everybody is Thinking. And it's like some ex-FBI body language specialist. He was like the top dude at Quantico, train the trainers kind of person. And I'm now getting into
in my bedroom, and I don't think I am actually started it yet. But I think
that is a super interesting book too. So I'm getting into NLP and then body language because it's.
I love it. We're gonna be best friends by the end of this, Andrew.
Well, that was part of the clip, but we're probably going to have to get to that next week because, as far as the time is, we're right at the 2-hour mark. So I appreciate everybody coming out. Dunbar, real quickly, since you didn't get a chance to react, you want to anything you want to add to that clip?
Yeah, just so I don't consider myself a salesperson, or I consider myself Can I?
Yeah, I'm just messing.
I only got a couple minutes. I consider myself a solutions manager. So I address the problems that they have with solutions that I know of, and if I don't know those solutions, then I refer those out to people that I know that do. And I think when it comes down to knowing what to ask, I use it a lot in negotiation, because you want to have a win-win. Everybody wants a win-win. So if I know what's a win for you, if I know what's a win for my client and I know what's a win for the opposing side, then we can both come to those terms, and it's probably not that far away. So I use a lot of negotiation skills and with the questions I have, but as far as just getting taking new clients, I don't consider myself a salesperson. You come with me with a problem, I give you a solution. That's it. Y'all can. That's it for me. No.
Right. Well, a good salesperson is a solution, actually, and then you actually give them solutions to problems they didn't know they had. You know, that's a master salesperson.
Right.
You know, so you didn't know that you needed this type of insurance because this could happen. Oh, I didn't know I needed it. That's why John's a master insurance salesperson. You know, agent.
Right.
He's an agent, whatever. Well, all comes down. We're salespeople and marketers. That's what we are. That's what we are. And then from there, I want to leave it. Y'all had any overarching comments or thoughts y'all want to leave before we wrap it up? Any overarching about the totality of the show? Any last thoughts?
Don't be afraid to seek advice from someone that might know something more than you do.
Right. That's good. That's good. Andrew
Consultations are generally free, so
right.
use them.
Yeah.
Andrew, you got a last thought on anything?
If you don't already do it, learn how to hold yourself accountable and take responsibility. I think that was kind of an overarching thing for the first few videos that we watched. That is super important because if you're not going to take that part serious, you won't last very long, whether you're a salesperson in real estate or insurance or whatever else you're doing. Going to be a difficult career road ahead if you can't hold yourself accountable.
Right. Good. That's good. I like that. Dunbar, David, anyway.
Yeah, just build up a good team of people that are insightful and knowledgeable about things that you aren't. It's kind of the double down on what Flower said.
Right.
I would say be intentional with your business. Don't just don't just assume. Be intentional with everything you're doing. Make sure you have a very clear path plan and you're always checking it. And then talk less, listen more. Talk less, listen more. We all can work on that better, myself included. It's just a really good fundamental thing to do. And the better you do it, the more money you make and the more people get helped along the way. Everybody wins.
Right. So I would say last thought is to summarize is hashtag deliberate. Be deliberate with every day. Don't forget that every day is a battle and a blessing. And a battle, what are you fighting for? What are you fighting to do? We're designed to work. We're designed to better ourselves. We're designed to ascend and to awaken. And all right, I'm in this flower pot. Let me get to a bigger flower pot. Let me get to a bigger flower pot to eventually I'll grow all this stuff. So that's what we're here to do. So are you growing? Are you deliberate? Are you advancing? Are you where you want to be? Be honest with yourself. And
Brandon, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Start tracking everything that you do because you cannot improve on what you do not measure. So even if it's a spreadsheet or a whiteboard behind you, start tracking it.
Right.
Track relentlessly.
Harvard Business Review had an article that said if you want to lose weight, you need to weigh yourself every day. You know, so you got to take your measurements, look at your goals, see what you're.
I don't know why, but I believe them, Brandon.
Right. So it is what it is. This won't happen through osmosis. This has to happen through deliberate and intentional actions. You know, and if you want to be on the other side, the top 1%, which is our audience, it starts with the man in the mirror. With that, I want to thank Andrew Becker coming through at I am Andrew Becker on all social media. Please like and follow him. My guy, John, from Goosehead Insurance. You go to Goosehead Insurance / John Flowers. My co-host, David Young, Infinite Team. He's out in Minnesota. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable guys that I know as far as mortgages besides myself. And then my guy, Brandon Dunbar. He's out in Houston. If you need a realtor and you need to buy a home, he's the guy for you. And with that, we're going to say peace and see y'all next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good one. Pleasure.